Dana revealed for us that Izzy Adesanya is lighting up the UFC, right? Calling Hunter, calling Dana. Wants to fight. Wants to fight again. And Dana said, we're going to give it to him. We're going to give it to him. He's going to fight. And Dana said something summer, in summer, late summer, midsummer, something summer. You guys understand that? And you do run into a question, well, who's he going to fight? I think it's clearly Duplessis. I think the only thing stopping us from making that announcement, and by us, I mean from the UFC making that announcement, is just getting the date. I can't see a scenario where it wouldn't be Duplessis. There hasn't been a fight that Adesanya's had where he hasn't picked his next opponent. He lets us know. Well, he did that here too, and he said it's going to be Duplessis. Meanwhile, I haven't seen anybody else going after Adesanya. In fact, I saw one guy in Robert Whittaker's sidestep say, no, my road back to him was through Piera. Okay, fair enough. Strickland would do the fight today, but doesn't think he can get the fight because he had lost to Cannonier, and he's probably right about that. Everybody else has already had the match. Chimaev needs to have one at 85 at least, according to what we heard Dana say at a press conference. Not to mention, it looks like his hands are full with Paulo Costa later. I mean, I'm just sharing for you. I feel as though I'm stating the obvious, but there's other plays there, right? There's other plays for 85-pounders to pick off Duplessis. It's always a great move. It's always a great move, particularly if you don't think you can get Adesanya. And Adesanya, who's gone through everybody and some of them twice, and he's getting ready to do it a third time, some of them can't get to him. So it's a really good idea to go after the next best thing, which is Duplessis, and then in the event of an upset, something along these lines, that you're able to step in there. I've seen the same situation where somebody would go after, for the scenario I've laid out for you, they would go after Duplessis. Then right before the fight, Adesanya can't show up. All of a sudden, they're going to keep the fight, but they're going to interim championship it. They just need an opponent for Duplessis, and they got one guy over here that's been chirping the whole time. It happens regularly. 185 is a very odd situation right now. Kelvin Gastelum made a statement, and he made a fair point. He said that he wants to fight Izzy. And Kelvin didn't know after his last fight, hey, am I going to still be here? Like, he didn't know, and you could see the relief and you could see the happiness, but he did make a point where he just simply said, he said I'm the number one contender. He said I flew in front of everybody. Kelvin was very measured. He said it's a fight that the fans want to see. That part he's right about. They won fight of the year, for goodness sakes. Do you remember the back and forth with Kelvin and Izzy? They couldn't get the fight, and they had to move the fight. It was going to be in Australia. I mean, all these different things happen. They finally go and do the match. Both these guys look great. Even Adesanya, he threw up like a triangle on Kelvin and scrambled off the bottom. And everybody did a great job. They won Fight of the Night, but then they got nominated for Fight of the Year from the World MMA Awards. I think they won it. I'd have to go back and look. I think they won Fight of the Year. I'm not suggesting for you that that's the match that's going to happen, but a Kelvin versus the Duplessis, absolutely. You can start to see things like that. And I just don't know where that division is at. Let me give you an example. I'm making this piece, guys, but in the back of my mind, I'm coming to you after just having read that Jon Jones' next fight with Stipe is going to be Jon's last fight. It's going to be his retirement fight. Now, I think that's a spoof. I don't believe that's a reality, but I still read it. And the theory behind it is because Jon will have done everything. He will have proven everything that he can prove within the era that he was fighting. Everybody when he got here, everybody when he was halfway through, and everybody that right now at his career, when he looks left and right, everybody that was there at that same time after he gets through with Stipe, he will have competed with. That's the theory. It's not bad. I think a lot of us understood it. But we got other guys in that same spot. We got Izzy in that same spot. I mean, is that it? Go beat everybody and you're done? We're going to retire Volkanovski? I mean, he's trying to find something else on his own. He knows he's cleaned out the division. He's willing to go up and do it again. I mean, he's trying to fight it because some of these guys are hungry. They're still driven. Adesanya's in a wildly precarious situation because he lapped the division. That's a term, and I realize that that's a colloquialism that's been used before, but it's never been used in our sport. The entire phrase lapped the division, when Dana White coined that for MMA, had to do with Adesanya. Nobody's ever done this. He's got problems with one guy. Now he's fixed that. Now he's right back to lap of the division because that guy's gone. It's one of these unique spots. Should he retire? Should he leave? Should he be forced out? I mean, what do you do? It's a really unique spot. We have multiple guys like that. Dustin Poirier to an extent. Max Holloway for sure. Robert Whittaker for sure. I mean, these are number one contenders. They're the baddest dudes out there. But there's one guy. Right? Like there's a guy. There's a little bit of a story. There's a little bit of a history. There's opportunities that have already been given. It's a unique spot. It's one that we need to figure out. I mean, it's one that we really need to figure out. I have been surprised at the lack of pushback when Jon made the statement it would be his last fight. When I was a child, and you guys did this as well, I'll admit it, but you know you've done this too. When I was a small child, I would say things that I knew weren't so or people didn't want to be so just to get the praise. Right? If I did something in art class and I did a great job and I looked around, I could see all my classmates, I knew mine was the best, and I'd hold it up and go, oh, this is pretty bad. So that they would say, oh, no, that's really good. That might even be the best in the class. Or so the teacher would say, it's a thing that you do. But you do it as a little kid. You're a little kid that's starved for attention. So when the heavyweight champion of the world comes out and he says something out just to get people to say, no, don't stop. You have so much more to do. It's weird. It's weird to me, but people accepted it. Nobody did do that. Nobody did throw that back and say, Jon, you've got several years left. Jon, you've got a gap. You've worked so hard. You got this gap between you and everybody else. Keep going out there. Keep making the money. Keep building memories. Keep building a legacy. I was surprised at how few people did that. And that's always the risk. When you come out and you feint a retirement just hoping to get attention, if you don't get it, all of a sudden you're, oh, well, maybe I do need to go. And you really find it out when other people accept it. I mean, that's the ultimate one, where you throw it out there, but then all of a sudden the promoter goes to the meeting and he's moving on. Yeah, we're going to do this fight, but then after that, I'm going to bring these two guys in and we're going to fight for the vacant title. And that's where you start going, hey, man, I didn't even mean that in the first place. I'm still, oh, God, I really am done. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. That's not the spot that Jon's in. Jon never meant it. That's not the road I'm going down. I'm just sharing the theory and the logic behind it. I'm looking at other guys saying, hey, that can't be the way that it is. Are you guys familiar with the wrestler Jordan Burroughs? Because Jordan was for the 2012 Olympics, the 16, the 20, which ended up being 21, and he's looking at Paris in 24, and I don't even know that he's stopping there. But he's going through, and so many people thought that he would retire. Everybody else that he started with is long gone. Jordan in America, domestically, whether it's the U.S. Open, Trials, Final X, is not competing with and won't even be in the bracket with guys that he was competing with and were in the bracket in 2012. None of them are still here. None. He is the only survivor, but he never looked at it and said, well, I beat everybody of my time. Well, that wasn't the case. Then I'll beat everybody of this time and that time and the next time. I give a damn. I'm here. I'm the lion. It's a very rare mentality. And I think we need to be real careful before we start accepting it within the sport. If you don't want to accept Jon Jones's resignation, I think that you need to have some level of pushback. Because Jon's point is true. I have beaten everybody of my time. Before I go to this next crop, let me clear out this time. And once I do that, my job is done. And I have proven that for my time, I was the absolute best. He would be right. There would be no debating it if Jon beat Steven. That is true. But then you have the Jordan Burroughs mentality, which is maybe you weren't here then, but you're here now, and so am I. So come get it. It's different. And I think that we have to be careful before we accept that. Because if we accept it for one, we could apply it to so many others. Or we could have what Izzy wants, which is more competition with more guys. By the way, bring me somebody new and fresh. I don't care if he's ranked number 1, if he's ranked number 3. In this case, if he's ranked number 6. If he's new and fresh, bring me the best that you got that's new. That's not too much to ask. That's not much of an ask at all. For all the rematches, for all the stuff, for all the heavy lifting, and then redoing it. Do you know what an advantage you have rematching Adesanya? He is so unique. I mean, his height and reach alone at that division, you're unlikely to find a sparring or training partner that can do that. Then his movements, his setups, his speed, the way he's going to fake, almost a dance move, boom, boom, before he comes and attacks you. Getting in there and being able to feel that one time, getting a comeback and then going there again, you are going to close the gap greatly. Sure you are. Whittaker would be a fine example where he did. Sure you are. You're second after you get to feel that once, that unique. How many times do you want to do that with Adesanya? I mean, how many times does he need to do that? How many times does he have to prove and then reprove? Give you an opportunity, then give you another opportunity where you've got better opportunity. How many times does he have to do that? Now, if first time ever he's asked for something, all he wants is a guy that he hasn't fought before. Come on. Come on, we can't get in the way of that. That's perfectly reasonable. Not to mention, don't act like Duplessis is a day off. Duplessis can win that fight. Duplessis is good. If you don't know that, you don't understand that, you need to go back and you need to watch him. That young man, Duplessis, he's ranked number 6. There's an argument that he should be ranked number 1.